Good afternoon.
Okay.
Thank you all for coming out to the Casey Historical Museum. My name is Andy Thomas and I'm the curator here. And if you haven't been to our museum, we encourage you to come by and see us. We're open Tuesday through Friday from 9 to 4, and Saturday and Sunday 2 to 5. Please, although sometimes on the weekends I'm not around because I'm a one-man show, so call and make sure I'm going to be there. I want to give you the best tour you can get when you come to the Casey Museum. We do programs like this every month. We try to do a program like this every night. I just nailed down a guy who's going to be doing a program for us on June 23rd. I don't know if y'all knew this, but we had something called the Columbia Speedway here, or Raceway here in the Casey area. So that'll be our next program on June 23rd, and we'll try to have one in July. We'll let people know through our social media outlets. But tonight we have a real treat, okay? And I'm going to introduce this lady, Mary Grant. She was born and raised along the coast near Georgetown, and she began sewing baskets as a hobby. And then people wanted to know if she was going to sell some of her baskets, so she kind of jumped into it, I guess, all the way and began to make baskets to sell. And she said it gives her great pleasure to know that her baskets will travel all over the United States and also abroad. And I'm just going to read a little bit something that she said. She said, "Sewing baskets is part of history, and I do not want to see it die out. It is fast becoming a dying art because the older people are getting too old to make the baskets, and the younger people don't have the patience, nor do they want to take the time to make them. Our materials are also disappearing because of coastal development. I'm dedicated to preserving the tradition of Sweatgrass basketry since sewing my first basket in 1990. How long ago was that? That was 32 years, 33 years. My intent is not only to practice the art form that has survived in South Carolina for over 300 years, but to teach a new generation of basket makers about their heritage and about the beauty of form and function created with sweetgrass, pine needle, and bulrush. Sweetgrass baskets that I make are similar to the baskets that are made in Sierra Leone, Africa." And with that, I'm going to, I think Miss Sultan, did you have a couple words you would like to say?
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. And thank you for coming out. I'd first like to thank you on behalf of the African American Committee here at the Casey Historical Museum. We have been with the museum, and we were so excited. Mrs. Mary has been with us even before we started. We had a sweetgrass basket that needed a repair, and that's how our curator was able to acquire her services in order to repair that basket. But what I'd like to tell you is, I'd like to tell you welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is what we do. This is what, in every culture, there are things that we pass down to our children. There are things that matter. There are things that, regardless of what the usage of the item, it is still very important. So the African American Committee was very excited to bring Mrs. Mary Graham Grant to us for our very first workshop to tell you more about sweetgrass baskets. Sweetgrass baskets is an African art that has been formed and practically continued in South Carolina over 300 years. It was brought to the area by slaves who came from the West African coast. The baskets were made of traditional art form, which has been passed down from generation to generation. And as you hear Miss Mary speak, you'll hear her speak about the generational connection. Every artistry, and especially doing this artistry, every person that's doing it actually has their own family, the way their families taught them. And then from that, they add their own flair to it. So it's passed down from generations to generations. Wherever grass was grown on the South Carolina coast, The coiled baskets were made to use in harvest time. During the long decline of the rice production from the Civil War to World War I, African American basket makers continued to sew baskets on plantations on their small family farms. Men, women, and children were all taught how to do this artistry. Mrs. Mary Grant Grant will now explain to us how, why, and when sweetgrass baskets are still so very important. Mrs. Grant.
Well, first of all, how wonderful do today? I knew everybody didn't answer because that was kind of
weak there.
How wonderful do today?
Good.
Do you know what I asked you?
No, I don't. How are you doing?
Yes, how are you? Are you going to answer me and didn't know what I asked you? Oh, yeah. No, you don't answer somebody when, I mean, I could ask you to give me all your money.
Doesn't mean you get it.
But what I did ask you was, how are you today in Gullah? And Gullah is a common, excuse me?
Say it again.
How Anna for do today?
Oh my goodness.
Okay, how
Yeah.
Anna for do the day. How are you today? Now you say it.
How are you today?
When I used to do residencies until they cut them out in the schools for right now. Every morning I'd go into the schools and I'd greet them, and then I'd tell them that, okay, now you have to ask me that, and then I would respond and let them know how I was doing. So I'm going to ask you that, and you respond to me, and then you ask me, and I'll respond to you. So how Anna for do today?
How?
You tell me how you do it.
Oh, we have
Okay.
to respond to it.
How Anna for do today?
Good.
How are you today?
Oh, and the children, I do good today. And sometimes my foot the hot. My foot the hot today. But I ain't getting better. Anyway, Gullah is a combination of African and English words. And by the way, this is my family that I told you knows how to do it sometimes. When they want to. So I'm passing it down. I'll pass it down for 2 generations, mama and daughter. So anyway, Gullah is a combination of African and English words. When the enslaved people came to this country, this was the type of basketry that they brought with them. But when they came to this country, they couldn't find the grass that they used in Africa. So what they found to use was this. And this is sweetgrass. And sweetgrass is fast becoming a dying art. But I'll tell you about that a little bit later. And when they found the grass, they had to find something to bind it with. Now, what they used was strips of palmetto from the palm tree. But during COVID, I couldn't get to Mount Pleasant to my provider so I could get mine. So what I started using was caning. And caning was done years ago, is what they were using, the caning, and then they switched over to the palmetto. But I kind of like the caning, so I think I'll stick with the caning instead of the palmetto. So it still works. And now when they find it to something to bind it with, they have to use a tool to sew it with. Oh, I have to say that. Anyway, this is the tool that's used. This is called a nail bone. And a nail bone is a spoon or a fork with the end cut off. And this is what I use to sew the baskets. And by the way, we sew sweetgrass baskets. We don't weave it. As people always say, you know, sweetgrass, oh, you weaving baskets. I'm not weaving baskets, I'm sewing baskets. And I use a nail bone. And I had a nail bone to show you. I'll start on this side since they know what it is already. That's a spoon or a fork. Cut off, and it's got a hole in it because I got to put it around my neck, because every time I go someplace I'll put it down and I've got to ask her, did you see my nail bone around anywhere? So I put it around my neck so I can find it when I'm looking for it while I'm working.
Yeah.
But a lot of people, especially the people in the Charleston, Mount Pleasant area, said that is the only place that sweetgrass makers are. But it's not so. I'm originally from Georgetown. Georgetown used to be the rice capital of the world. And if Georgetown was the rice capital of the world, don't you think they had to have a way to clean that rice? Here comes the fanner basket. So if the rice capital was Georgetown, they had to have somebody to make fanner baskets. And this was a fanner basket. This is what they used to clean the rice. When they harvest the rice had a shell on it. And that shell has to come off of the rice. The only rice you've seen is in the grocery store. That's already been processed. But this one, the old time way, they had a mortar and pestle. And what that was is a big log that's hollowed out. It had a block of wood on the end and a long handle, and they would pound it until the hull was broken up off of the rice. Then they had to separate it. So what they did was put it in a fanner basket, and they would shake it and throw it up. They would shake it and they would throw it up. And as the wind would blow the shell away, so then they had clean rice. And this particular fanner basket, a lot of people call Moses basket. You have any idea why they would call it Moses basket?
Because Moses was,
in a basket.
That's the same kind of basket he was in.
he was in.
Very good. This is the same kind of material that Moses was put in the river in, was a bulrush basket. So fanner basket, and some people call Moses basket. Now sweetgrass basket, as they took all of my talk, but I'm gonna still say it again anyway. Sweetgrass basket is fast becoming a dime off for several reasons. The biggest reason is because of coastal development. A lot of people are building houses and other places. They have private lands now where people used to be able to go in these places and harvest the sweetgrass. Not anymore. They have to have permission to go on these people's property, and a lot of times they don't give them permission. So right now sweetgrass is becoming very scarce. So I'm still waiting right now for the person that I go to in Mount Pleasant to get my sweetgrass to say, okay, I've got some sweetgrass now. And another reason is young people don't take the time. They like telephones, and they like things that go fast. You can't go fast with making sweetgrass baskets. You've got to have patience. How many of you here think you have enough patience to make a basket? We got some. But that's one of the requirements. You've got to have some patience to make baskets. It doesn't go very fast at all. Does it, Jillian? No, it doesn't go fast at all, and it takes a lot of patience. And another reason is the older people are getting much older, their hands are getting weak, they're getting tired, and they just don't feel like doing it anymore. So that's why it's becoming a dying art. Before COVID came along, I would go into schools and do residencies. I'd go in for a week at a time, and I'd see the same classes every day for a week. And they made baskets, and every day that I would go in, I would give them a little phrase. And if I forget that day, they say, Miss Grant, you didn't give us our dollar phrase today. So I have to, every day I had to give them, and I would tell them, you know, good morning, how I want to do today, but I still had to give them a Gullah phrase. And one of the other Gullah phrases I used to tell them was, and I'm going to tell you one at the end when you get ready to leave. So remind me, I have to tell you one when you leave. Okay, one of the things I say, like when they talk a lot, I say, you need to stop rattling your mouth.
Stop rubbing your mouth.
Mm-hmm.
Running your mouth.
Rattling your mouth.
Running your mouth. Stop talking.
Mm-hmm.
Stop rattling on, going on and on.
Rambling.
No, or either another way I can say it is stop cracking your teeth. Stop cracking your teeth.
Stop talking.
Stop talking, because you have to open your mouth, your teeth, to talk. So stop cracking your teeth. Okay. Anyway, back to sweetgrass. Okay, now sweetgrass grows out in the area, like say out in a like wooded area, like it's not in the marsh. Like the bulrush grows like in marshy areas. Sweetgrass more like in a sandy area or in wooded areas is where it grows. And I don't go out and harvest it myself because that's hard work. You got to bend down, you can't cut it, because if you cut it, it'll grow back, but it'll grow a little harder, and you can't pull it up from the root, because if you pull it up from the root, it's not going to grow back. So they have to be careful how they're pulling it up, and that's hard work, and they got snakes out there, and mean snakes don't get along very well. So I'll pay somebody to get your sweetgrass for me, so I don't want to do that. But I love making sweetgrass baskets. And like I say, it's from generation to generation, and I've been doing it for over 30 years. And I started because this was a part of my heritage. And I didn't know it in the beginning until, I saw people doing it, and I decided, I'm going to stop and watch. And me, I'm nosy, I'm going to ask questions, And they couldn't tell me a whole lot, so I decided I'm going to go on the internet will tell you anything you want to know. So it told me that, it was an African art. So sweetgrass basketry is an African art and South Carolina art because it originated in Africa, and the materials that are used are from South Carolina. So both South Carolina history and African history. So we're going to put the both together, but see, this isn't something that they will teach you in school. So you would have to almost know somebody. And the person that taught me how to do basket is, she's deceased now, but she had 2 sons who wanted nothing to do with making sweetgrass basket. And I met her, and somebody told me about her, so I told her I was interested. So she decided she would teach me, so I call her my adopted mother, since it's passed down from generation to generation. So that was my mother then, so she taught me how to do it. She only taught me the basics on how to do it, and I'd go from there. I do not most anything. I try to be creative in doing the things that I do. So let us see, I've got bracelets, I've got earrings, I've got necklaces, I've got baskets, got picture frames. So there's all kinds of things that you can do. It's limited, unlimited things that you could do. Some of the students used to ask me, well, can you make a pair of shoes? No, I can't make shoes. I won't even try to make shoes. I've even taken a board and cut the top off it and put sweetgrass on it. Or you can even do, as she asked me about pine needles, you can also use pine needles. So a lot of the baskets, I have a combination of sweetgrass, pine needles, and bulrush in some of the baskets. Like this particular one, I started with pine needles, I did the sweetgrass, and then I did bulrush, and I've got painting. So I've got 4 different materials in this one basket here. And I want to show you how it's done. I want to take a couple of people. Who wants to show or see how it's done? Nobody?
Ms. Grant, would you need for us to bring some chairs up there for
You can.
Okay, all right.
You can.
How many volunteers do you need, Ms. Grant?
How many volunteers want to volunteer?
Okay.
I'm one.
You want to help Jillian? You want to help Nikki?
Excuse me.
Okay, I'll do it first.
Okay.
You do something.
Well, you know what? I'm going to start with you.
Okay.
I'm going to show you how it's done.
Okay.
You watch her, and then she'll pass it to you. And then the young lady on the end has to watch you. And then she's going to do it. That's while I'm talking to other people. How about that?
Yes.
Okay. Are you all right-handed first? Okay, everybody's right-handed. Okay. So we hold it in our left hand, in between the index finger and thumb. And I had a nail going around somewhere. Oh, okay, thank you. Okay, and I used the nail bone. Okay, first, let me tell you this. Before they had spoons and forks like this, what do you think they actually used?
Bones.
You messed it up. I wanted to hear all the sticks and the stones. And you said bone, but you're absolutely right. Bones. They use the rib from a large animal, and they would, and I never actually done that, and I forgot to bring it, it was in my other case. They would take a bone of ribs. I know you all like spare ribs. When you eat all of the meat off the bone, you let it, wash it off and let it dry out, and you can file it down, and there's a point on it. Because they wasn't going to take their good spoon and fork they needed to eat with, right? So they didn't use that. But anyway, I'm going to show you, and you're going to pass it down, okay? Holding it in between your, I'm going to show you first, okay? Holding it in between your index finger and thumb. Holding your nail bone like this, and we're going in between the strips here. So we're going to go in about halfway, and you're going to go from side to side. You're supposed to be helping.
Oh, you were showing, so that's why I was.
Well, you can show. Show them what I taught you.
Yeah, you're supposed to be helping.
Yeah, and I can come around here and talk to them some more.
You want to come here? Are you?
You know, I'm doing.
I'm just showing. You still talking or am I talking
Okay,
and showing?
you can go ahead. And this is my grandniece. She knows how to do it too. So I'm passing it down. I've passed it down to 2 generations. Okay, right, Jillian. Did you like it, Jillian? She didn't like it. Example of a young person. Patience. But anyway, so that's why I like Sweetgrass baskets, because it's a part of our heritage and it's passed down from generation to generation. So it's going to be, I mean, it's been around for over 300 years. They're in the Smithsonian Museum, and Mary Jackson has baskets that's in the Smithsonian. So these baskets will last forever. Long as you take care of them, it'll be here. Long after we're gone, those baskets will be here. They'll be right here if it's taken care of. As long as you don't put a plant in it with water in it and rock the bottom out, it'll last. I've had people to do that and ask me to repair baskets. It's impossible to go from the outside in. You have to go from the inside out. And you can't do that if the bottom's rotted out. So you need to take care of it. And they can be washed. You can wash it with, if it gets dirty, you can wash it with a little soap and water. And with a soft brush, like a soft toothbrush or baby brush, you can wash it with some dish detergent, and you can wash it and rinse it and put it out in the sun to dry, or either you can use a hair dryer to dry it. How you doing back here?
Am I too far down?
Yeah.
Yeah, you keep focused.
Okay. So it'll last, you know, you can dry it off like that. Just don't let it sit in the water. So but we're going to let some other folks do it as well.
Okay, there you go.
Well, I will show how to do it. I mean, I had another one somewhere. Yeah. Oh, I need to put a piece of.
For those that are watching us, you see how Miss Mary is trying to integrate what she's done, but she's also passing it on. So look at here, listen to what she's saying, and that this sweetgrass and these baskets are to be used. So they're not something that you just put on a shelf.
No, you don't. I gave one to my sister-in-law, and I went to her house one day. I said, "Dorothy, where's your basket?" I put it up. I said, "Put it up. I don't want nobody to get it dirty." No, they're made to be used, because when you use them, if they get dirty, they can be washed. So you don't have to worry about getting dirty. And when you're working, when it's called row upon row, one row is on top of the other row. It's like a needle and thread. Like this is like a needle and thread. And you never ever see, you never see when, because they're doing it, but I can stand here. You never see where it starts or ends. It's row upon row. So when I here, I need some sweetgrass, and I also need a piece of caning. So I'm gonna add some sweetgrass, but you'll never see where I put it in. So when I take some, I'll just open it up and put it in there. So, and then I just continue. So you never ever see where I put it in or whether I wear it in. So it just continue to go. Now I'm going to add a piece of caning and I'm going to put it in where it's locked in. So I'd always go into the same place where I started, where that piece ended, and I'll pull it all the way through to the end till I get about 1.5 inches to the end. Too bad everybody can't see this. And I'll lock it in. And then I'll go to my next space.
How long does it usually take you to make one of your baskets?
It depends on the size and the style that I'm making at the time. Most times when I'm making something, I have no idea what I'm making. Like this. I have no idea what I'm gonna make this yet. I just started to go up on the size on this one, but I have no idea what I'm making yet. See, so this one I just added on. So you really can't see where I added that piece on. And I just continue to go on it. So maybe, unless somebody else want to come, I'll walk around and I'll show you how it's done.
Miss Mayor, can you do this for us really quick? Can you just go directly into the camera and actually do exactly what you were doing and explain? We are on Facebook and we're going to be on YouTube. And so I'd like for them to see exactly what you're doing. Can you just come really,
undo it?
Can you come really close to that camera there?
Okay.
And so that he can actually see exactly what you're doing.
Okay. I can do that. Okay. When I need some more sweetgrass, I don't use, like the pine needles, I don't have a tube that I put on here to determine the size. And what I do it by feeling it. And the way I'm feeling it now, I need some more sweetgrass. So what I do when I put the sweetgrass in, you'll never see where I put it in. I'm going to get some sweetgrass, and I'm going to put it in, and you'll never see where I put it in. I'll just get my ends even. Just push my sweetgrass in. And now I'm going to add a piece of caning. Because my piece is short, I can't do any more with that one. So I put it in and I'll pull it through till I get to the end, the other end. And I'll lock it in.
Okay, so I don't know what to do. Yeah, we did.
And then I'll continue. And I'm going in between each one of these spaces. And if you're wondering why I have my nail bone on a string, is because when I put it down, I can never find it. So I have to tie it around my neck. So, and I'm going into the space with my nail bone, put it about halfway or a third of the way down. I pull it out and find the end of my caning. Got to make sure that it's straight because you want it to look nice. And you got to push your sweetgrass down and tighten it up. And you're always holding it in between your index finger and your thumb. And going into the next space.
It really is like sewing. It is sewing.
Andy, would you like to try it?
Oh, I'm thumble fingers, but I'll try it.
Okay.
Natasha, you're coming.
No, I'm good.
You don't want to.
You're good.
I'm good.
No, you're not. Let me just do this, Andy, and then you can.
Prerequisite was patience.
You're one of those people that don't have patience.
See, that's my problem too.
Okay, if you hold it, I'll get you another nail gun.
This is Mr. Andy Thomas, our curator, and he's gonna give it a try. Miss Mary's gonna show him how easy sweetgrass is done. And it is
Okay,
for
you're gonna hold it in
males
between your index finger and thumb.
Okay,
We're gonna take our nail gun and hold it like this.
okay,
And we're going in between the spaces here.
okay,
We're gonna go about a third of the way down from side to side.
okay.
When you get the point through, just pull it out. And you wanna slide your fingers from the bottom all the way to the end. You wanna make sure it's straight.
Right,
And then you gotta remember where you put the hole.
yeah, okay. Gotcha.
And sometimes it doesn't wanna act right. There you go.
Okay, great.
You just pull it through.
Well, let me try one.
You gotta make sure you push your sweetgrass down before you tighten up on your caning. Okay?
All right, so between my,
Index finger and thumb.
okay, and then there's the tool.
Okay, where your thumb is, that's where you just went in. So you're gonna go into your next space.
All right,
From side to side. No, not twisting, side to side. Once it gets through,
there we go.
and just pull it out.
Pull it out.
I'll hold this. Now, put your hand over the top.
Okay, and then kind
Go all the way to the end.
of straighten it out.
Okay, you just made it crooked. Put your thumb on the top
Okay,
and go all the way to the end. And it's kind of long, so I'll help you. I'll grab it here.
I gotcha. It is long.
Okay, and then you're gonna bend it down toward you.
I know.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay,
And go into the hole. Remember where you put your hole. There you go. Any more volunteers?
Miss Grant,
Yes.
you ever use coconut midrib?
Excuse me?
Coconut midrib, you know, it looks like.
That's the bulrush.
It's like coconut, you know, the coconut midrib that you open the
Coconut?
coconut, yeah, there is in
Uh-oh.
the middle, yeah.
Okay.
No, that's the bulrush.
Wonderful.
yeah, but that's gonna,
Okay, no, you got it.
oh, okay. Oh, okay.
Okay, you gotta untwist it. And, wait a minute.
Oh,
Okay.
keep going? And you said kind of straighten it as we go? Or?
Yeah, now you gotta push your sweetgrass down before you tighten it up.
I'll push it that way.
Yeah.
I gotcha.
No, put your hands over the top so you can pull it and push the sweetgrass down all at the same time. Push your sweetgrass down and tighten it up. See, then you gotta move your fingers around, put your finger behind it.
Okay.
And go to your next one, do one more, and then I'll let you go.
Okay. All right, here we go. See if it'll go through. Come on, punch. There we go. All right, so we got that. Now I'm gonna pick this up.
It'll be easier if you put your thumb on the top like